Good morning and welcome to Sunday Online with Guiseley Baptist Church. It's really nice to have you with us. If you're a football fan, the phrase 30 years of hurt will probably mean something. It's the song that we sang in 1996, looking back to the glory days of 1966, when England won the World Cup. But in those 30 years, we hadn't won anything, so 30 years of hurt. But in Isaiah's day, the Israelites had suffered 200 years of hurt. Since the glory days of King Solomon, the kingdom had split into two and become violent and unruly, thanks to a succession of weak, power-hungry kings. In fact, in the 200 years since Solomon and Isaiah's day, there had been 31 monarchs, 30 kings and 1 queen, and of those 31, 24 are explicitly described as having done evil in the sight of the Lord. And of the remaining 7, we're told that though they did some good things, they failed to remove the high places, which means they allowed pagan worship to go on in the countryside while paying lip service to the worship of God in Jerusalem. And of those 31 kings, many died a violent death. Several were assassinated. 9 reigned for 3 years or less, some just a few months. And believe it or not, one king reigned for 7 days. He was called Zimri, and in the course of just 1 week, he assassinated the king, slaughtered all his rivals, grabbed the throne, and then, when his support failed to materialize, he committed suicide by setting fire to the palace with himself inside it. It's really hard to overestimate the gloom, the despair of ordinary people in those days. So violent were they. And then along came Isaiah with some good news. You may know these familiar words. For unto us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders. And he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and of peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. No wonder Isaiah has sometimes been called the fifth gospel, because just like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, he came bearing good news. But who was this wonderful counselor? Who was this Prince of Peace whose reign would last forever? Well, in part, it was a reference to King Hezekiah, King Hezekiah, the 32nd king after Solomon, who came to the throne and who was quite unlike all his predecessors. He was a righteous man, a godly man, a really good man, and life improved under him. But clearly this prophecy speaks about someone greater than Hezekiah, someone who was not only a wonderful counselor and a prince of peace, but someone who was also a mighty God. Furthermore, though Hezekiah reigned for 29 years, and this prophecy described how he would rule, clearly his rule did come to an end. So who was this king, this Messiah-like figure, who would reign forever? Well, 700 years after the prophecy, the first Christians had no doubt at all that these words were speaking not just about Hezekiah, but also about Jesus Christ. Well, what's the point of this for us today? Well, whilst I hope not, it may be that some of you are hurting and going through a tough time. It may be serious ill health or family issues. It might be financial issues or problems at work, all of which will seem particularly bad at the moment at Christmas, when everyone's supposed to be happy and merry. Well, I don't want to minimize what you're going through, far from it, but if you're in a bad place at the moment, take heart and have faith. God sent Jesus for you. He can be your counselor, your comforter, your Prince of Peace. He can become your mighty God. He wants to come alongside you today, right now, and give you hope and comfort. So whatever you're facing, invite Jesus into your life. You may not find that all your problems will immediately disappear, because you'll then be living in God's time, not your own time. But you will be given strength, comfort, and hope. May God bless you.